What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Cloud Slayer channel. Hope you guys are doing well. It's been a long hiatus for me, but had a good time, had a good little vacation, time away from work and stuff like that. But still found time to do housework and things like that, and ended up going to the Dragon Boat Festival last week, this past weekend. It was awesome. We got second place in the bronze, so. Oh man, it was a digger. Shoulders were sore for a day or two, and it was overall super fun. Bunch of good individuals having fun, rolling our hearts away, and sadly we came up short in our bracket, anyways. And it is what it is. It's you win some, you lose some. Sometimes you lose more than you win. We had years where we just lost every single race, and there was no communications and stuff like that. This year, it felt really great. A heck of a lot more communication. Last year, I didn't row. I took the year off, mainly because just going to Tall Timber Days. I ended up going to Tall Timber Days the next day, which is also fun. So, if you've never been to Tall Timber Days in Grand Rapids, it's pretty good. They have some good vendors. They have like log rolls for like lumberjack log roll stuff. They climb up these poles. It's pretty freaking awesome. You can also pay for your kids to go in there and try to log rolls and all that stuff. Of course, they have people in there making sure they don't get hurt or drowned or stuff like that. So they have professionals nearby, and it's a fun time. It's a fun time. Costs a little bit of money, but it is what it is. This year, we ended up going into the building, the old Central School building. The thing was erected in like 1888, I want to say. I think that's what I read in there. The original building got moved to Coleraine back in 1888 when they gave the land to the Grand Rapids Village at the time. So Grand Rapids was just a village. And they were deeded a school back then. So it ended up becoming a school back right before the 1900s. And, and that building's still there. So they added on to it through the years, and got it all looking better, looking nice, and restored, right? They restored it back in like the 70s and stuff like that. So very awesome, very cool historical information posted inside the building itself. They have like tarot card readers in there. They have candle makers and stuff like that. You go pour your own candles and whatnot. So it's pretty freaking cool, and it's awesome to be in a building that's that old, and that was used for educating young people at the time, right? So it'd be cool, like, to try to go in there during the night to see if that place is haunted, but it doesn't sound like there's any suspicious activity going on there. So, but anyways, had a great time. Having time off gives you a breather from work and from reality of life, right? That you have to work to sustain your life, right? And sometimes you just need a break. So I guess taking a break, we'll talk about taking breaks, right? Taking a break is a good thing. It's a fun thing, and it could be something that you should be trying to utilize, especially if you're overstressed, especially if the weight of the world is getting to you, right? Some people can't afford it or whatever. They get sick and stuff like that. But on the off chance that you do, you're able to save up PTO. You're able to do whatever if your job offers those types of things. You save up money. You make a plan to go and do something with your family, friends, or relatives, whatever the case is going to be. You make those plans, you get out of there, you don't worry about work, don't think about that place, any of those places that you work at. Worry about what's happening in the moment. And, life goes on. Life's always going to go on. Like, I know there's a lot of people that have a hard time relaxing because all they do is think about work, which is it's good, but it could be a bad thing for you, especially if you're stressed to the max, if you're you know, I don't know, and not crying, but you're just really stressed out, and that place that you work at, you call that you pour your soul into is stressing you out. So it's just a matter of getting out of there, doing fun stuff, hanging out with awesome people that you love and care for. Either one of those things, and just forgetting about any of that ever existing, at least for a day or two. Or even a week if you took off a week or something, and just going out and learning new things, looking up new things, trying to figure things out, trying to learn about something that you thought was interesting. Little things like that. So give yourself some time to recuperate and de-stress a little bit. That's going to be a big thing. It's going to go a long ways for you. So get out of whatever space is making you feel that way, and go into another space that helps you forget, helps you you know realize that life's not always just stress and stuff. It's what you make of it, right? It is what you make of it, and that you can make it a heck of a lot more fun and not stressed, and not a stress-induced environment, such as work. Everybody's place of employment is going to be stress-induced to some certain extent, especially if you care about your job, especially if you're trying to do your best and make certain changes, right? It's always going to be heck of a hard. Everybody's going to have a hell of a time trying to keep up with that type of stuff. So it's never easy, not for anybody, not anybody that's involved. So you can imagine that even the people above you are stressed to the max. The people who are below you, stressed to the max. It's people that are same level as you, stressed to the max, right? So, and what happens when you get a whole environment of stressed out individuals? You get some cranky people sometimes, right? And sometimes that just rubs off on everybody, and it's like a plague, man. It's a cancer, and it just spreads. So sometimes the best move is to get the heck out of there and take some time and recoup. Sometimes it needs a breath of fresh air to get everybody back on track, right? To where they're supposed to be, including yourself, including others, and things like that. So, but anyways, I apologize for my long hiatus. I forgot last week. I was gonna jump on yesterday, but had to finish up some stuff. We transplanted all our trees over to bigger buckets. We got to figure out where we're gonna store them during the winter and stuff like that. So, yeah, and then I had some other. I talked about how I would bring up what I was doing. So I end up. This past year was my first year. I started growing cannabis. I am a big believer of the proponents of what cannabis can do, and especially in like a natural environment. So I grew some outside, just in the sun. I just watered it with a garden hose and watched that thing sprout up. It wasn't too big for the one I got. So I learned a bunch of different things about that. Maybe I'll try to do a little video of what I know, and people can comment anything that I miss, anything that I'm incorrect about, and or correct me about it, right? That's the only way I'm ever going to learn cultivating that kind of stuff. So, but anyways, it's going awesome. I end up getting a tent, and I'm going to grow indoors. Nothing's for sale, so don't ask me about that. But I'm trying to perfect it, trying to learn how to do it for not only myself, but for those around me. So because I do believe that there's a lot of medical things that the cannabis plant can help people with, and things like that. But first of all, I have to get better at growing this plant first. Or any of these plants, cultivating it. There's a whole lot of processes that go with it, not just growing. A lot of things you got to watch, pH levels, stuff like that, watering, all that good stuff. So it's pretty It's pretty intense. It's intimidating to look at from a new perspective, but I've been growing regular plants for a couple years now, a couple seasons, I guess you'd say. But, peas and carrots and corn and things like that are a heck of a lot different than a cannabis plant that needs to be in a different type of environment, let's say. So, but there's a lot of things that to learn, and I'm freaking excited. That's all I care about. I like learning new things. I'm always constantly learning new things and trying different things out because that's what interests me as well. And whenever I find the time to do it, between video games, work, hanging out with my son, and learn doing the new things. Sometimes it's hard to juggle, and sometimes you just gotta get away too. So get your mind straight and back on track to whatever it is that you're working towards, whatever that may be. So I always talk about doing sports and stuff like that, but that's only because I grew up playing sports. If you don't like the sports reference, it is what it is. Pretend like you heard it was something that you're interested in, right? Because the point of a reference or a point of using something for that isn't because I'm referencing just that sport. I'm referencing what it can do, what it helps others build while they're doing those things, right? Teamwork, friendship, camaraderie, various things like that, right? What in your life helped you build those things, those characteristics? You might have never played sports. You might have been homeschooled your whole life. What at home created that for you? You find those things and you look for those feelings as you go on through life, and you try to replicate those. You try to do those things again, right? And create a bigger basis for the things that you're doing in your life. So it's heck of a lot easier said than done. Like I always say, it's going to be easier said than done. Sometimes you're in those moments and you're just frozen. And sometimes you can be lost for words, man. It's going to happen. It happens to the best of us. But, you don't let that hold you back. You keep going forward. You do your best to be the one that speaks up, right? I do it all the time. Sometimes I don't speak up, but I do speak up. So I'm getting a lot better at it, defending myself, defending those around me, that, stuff like that. So sometimes you could cage yourself up for years because that's what you think's best for you. But in all reality, no action has its consequences as well. So if you're ever in that same boat, just remember that your inactions have consequences as well. So if you want people to take you seriously, you got to speak up, regardless, at least sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to give some type of resistance, even if you full-heartedly agree with it. Sometimes it just creates fun little banter. So you had intentions of going with it the whole time, but it makes for spicing up life a little bit more. It's not all confrontations are going to be negative. Not all confrontations or interactions, I should say, are going to be bad ones, even if some people might think that they will be because you said something or whatever. Sometimes they're when they're coming into your life, they're trying to convince you of some stuff, but sometimes you got to remember that it's also your life too, and you got good, valuable input as well. There's a way to convey those things, and there's a way to kind of be a knucklehead about it, right? So sometimes it's not about the idea itself, it's about how you pitch it and stuff like that. So, but anyways, I took up enough of your guys' time. I hope you guys have a great one. Till next time, peace. Have a great one, guys. Peace.